Kiev regime representative and its Western backers, in fact, they changed the tune. At previous meetings, they were mostly appealing to Russia to withdraw from Ukraine, to stop its aggression, occupation, blah, 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 all these things. You will not hear it now. What they are saying, they are trying to appeal to the US and saying, look, Ukraine is good. Ukraine has accepted this peace deal that you are saying about. Ukraine is doing everything to have peace. Russia is bad, Putin is bad, he's not trustworthy, all these kind of things. So the whole meeting was very much resembling a session of appealing to the US to take actions against Russia and to say that Ukraine is really complying with the conditions that President Trump is imposing on this country. That's also a pattern. We have accustomed to this pattern, and we said at some of the meetings, recent meetings of the Security Council, that the West didn't care about killing of Russian people and is not caring right now. That's, I think, the only hope of the crumbling Zelensky regime, because they understand that they are losing at the battlefield. They understand that they don't have any cards in their hands. So the only way out for them would to involve some of the great powers to fight directly with Russia, or to involve the United States to pressure Russia, because allegedly Russia is not doing something that was agreed upon. We also tried to expose this, to debunk these lies during the meeting. We showed of how many times Ukraine has breached the agreement on non-striking of energy infrastructure. I think that for everyone who has eyes and who wants to analyze the behavior of the Kiev regime is quite obvious. It's a very uncomfortable topic for, I think, Washington right now, because people there, if they have the means of objective control, and I hope that they have such means, they of course understand that Kiev regime is in fact breaching its obligations on this ceasefire. To acknowledge this would be to absolutely ruin any possibility for Ukraine to defend its position and to raise its force in Washington and elsewhere. I think that's why they are very cautious about this. And of course, the European backers of Kiev regime, they try to pretend that Ukraine is doing nothing wrong, that it is Russia that is hitting energy target. This is nothing new. I think we saw it for recent years, and we have no hope that this behavior of European countries will change sometime soon. That President Trump evidently wants some kind of a peace deal, but he wants to keep leverage in his hands. And we saw his tactics in some other situations. When he imposes something, then he withdraws his measure, and he tries to reach out, gives an opportunity to another party to present its case. These are negotiation tactics. I think he tries to use these negotiating tactics with us as well, saying that, oh, you see that you're not responding to my offer, then I will resume something that you don't like to support Ukraine again. But I don't think it will work with Russia. We have very strong cores. We have very strong situation on the ground, and we are trying to reach out to the Trump administration. We keep very direct and clear dialogue at different levels through Moscow and Washington in this regard. And I think that we will be able to prove to President Trump that if he clearly wants peace, if he really wants this situation to stop, he has to tackle the root causes of this problem that led to it, and not only solve the aftermath of what was already created by the others. And he has all the means to do it, but he has to understand and to do something about the true colors of the Kiev regime, which is cheating, which is deceiving, and which is just fulfilling the geopolitical interests of the others. And this is, of course, to the detriment of the Ukrainian people. We have direct dialogue with the United States, and we stick to this dialogue. And if the United States also want to achieve something, I think they will stick to dialogue with us as well. We indeed are insisting on this kind of arrangement, and we were doing it from day one, saying that we would be ready to implement the goals of our special military operation in the diplomatic way, not only the military way. And the demilitarization of Ukraine was one of the goals. And when President Trump started his peaceful initiatives, we all recall that the voices in Europe and in Kiev were that we should stick to this ceasefire, because during the ceasefire it will be a good opportunity to give Ukrainian forces some additional breathing space, and to rearm Ukraine and to bring new armed forces to the battlefield. All these things. So it's absolutely does not correspond with the logic of the ceasefire as we see it. Because if we are about to agree to a ceasefire, it will mean that this conflict will never happen again. And to make it never happen again, he had everything in his hands to stop the crisis in Ukraine. He had to implement Minsk agreements. But instead of this, he chose absolutely another path, which is detrimental and maybe fatal even for his country. So that's what he has been doing. And to do so, he has to make these false claims like he was making in Bucha, which happened 3 years ago when this false flag operation was presented as a cause and as a reason for Ukraine to withdraw from any negotiations with Russia. And everyone understands right now that this was a very fatal mistake for Ukrainian regime at that moment. One of the things is, of course, how it will be controlled and what will be the measures, the guarantees that the other side will not breach these ceasefires. These things have not been discussed in details. We asked a lot of questions to our American colleagues, and I think we are awaiting answers from them right now. And we think that the ball is in the court of the US as far as this proposal is regarded. But we agreed in the meantime to this energy ceasefire on the strikes of energy infrastructure objects, and we have been implementing it since March 18 in good faith, which is not the case for the Kiev regime. And we think that this will be a good litmus test for the Trump administration to see how trustworthy, in fact, the Kiev regime is. Hard to keep it a secret anymore. No matter how they wanted to conceal it, it's still an open question, and it's absolutely clear to everyone that Ukraine is in fact a private military company which is fighting for Western geopolitical interests. So the interests of Washington have changed, and this brought a very, I would say, serious chasm in the Western camp.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.